former member of the German militant group Red Army faction, RAF, has been jailed for 13 years for carrying out a string of armed robberies between 1999 and 2016. Daniela Klett, 67, was finally caught in a flat in Berlin in 2024 after more than 30 years on the run. She went on trial last year.
Orders note, Call to Earth is a CNN editorial series committed to reporting on the environmental challenges facing our planet, together with the solutions. Rolex's Perpetual Planet initiative has partnered with CNN to drive awareness and education around key sustainability issues and to inspire positive action. The river arrived almost immediately.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton won the Republican nomination for the United States Senate on Tuesday, defeating four-term Senator John Cornyn. According to results reported by the Associated Press news agency, Paxton won with about 64% of the vote, while Cornyn received about 36%, a margin of roughly 28 percentage points.
Fans of Crystal Palace and Rayo Vallecano have clashed in Leipzig as their teams prepare to play in the Conference League final, with police officers injured and 2 arrests made. German police said bottles, beer glasses and restaurant furniture were thrown on Tuesday evening when a group of about 300 Rayo fans encountered Palace fans who were sitting outside restaurants, and that officers also intervened in a further incident when about 60 Palace fans provoked Spanish supporters of the La Liga club.
The mountainous, landlocked Central Asian nation of Kyrgyzstan has historically been one of the region's poorest economies, much of it reliant on remittances from migrant workers abroad. But 4 years ago, its fortunes got an unexpected boost after Western governments and their allies slapped Russia with sanctions over its 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Kyrgyzstan immediately emerged as a key hub for goods bypassing embargoes. From 2021 to 2022, the annual value of Kyrgyzstan's exports to Russia leaped from 393 meters to $1.07 BN, including products such as luxury cars and microchips. Salaried taxpayers may receive partial relief as the federal government reviews several options, with one of them being paying Rs 200 billion from its own pocket to make it possible in the upcoming FY27 budget, according to budget-related discussions. Policymakers are considering options such as raising the tax exemption threshold, widening income brackets, or adjusting tax rates for salaried individuals.
A major Indian film industry union has issued a non-cooperation directive against Bollywood actor Ranveer Singh after an FI was registered by a woman accusing Durandar designer Saini S. Jore of sexual harassment. Indian media also reported that boycott demands gained more steam over Singh's alleged sudden exit from the upcoming film Don 3.
Italy's highest court has ruled a 5-star Dolomites hotel was acting lawfully when it refused to provide tap water to a tourist. The woman unsuccessfully argued that water is a natural resource and a universal human right, after a waiter only offered her 7 LR66 bottled mineral water at the restaurant of the 5-star Hotel Sazonga in Corvara during the 2019 ski season.
At least 1 person has been killed and 9 others are still missing after a major chemical explosion at a paper mill in Washington. Authorities said the explosion occurred at 07:15 PDT, 15:15 GMT, at the Nippon Dynawave packaging facility in Longview, 130 miles, 210 kilometers south of Seattle.
Green Bay Packers star running back Josh Jacobs was arrested on Tuesday on 5 charges, including 3 forms of domestic abuse, according to the Brown County Jail in Green Bay Police Department. Jacobs, 28, faces domestic abuse charges of battery, criminal damage to property and disorderly conduct, as well as intimidation as a victim and felony strangulation and suffocation. Argentina coach Lionel Scaloni said the initial news regarding superstar Lionel Messi's fitness is not that bad. and hopes further examinations will confirm that diagnosis. With the World Cup just 2 weeks away, Messi has been diagnosed with muscle fatigue in his left hamstring by his Major League Soccer (MLS) club Inter Miami after he made an abrupt exit from Miami's 6-4 victory over Philadelphia in the 73rd minute on Sunday.
An Israeli air attack has killed 2 people and injured another in the town of Deir Amos in the Tyre district, Lebanese state media reported, as the Israeli military expanded its operations across the war-battered country. The army also carried out several air raids in the town of Braikar in the south, destroying 2 homes, the national news agency NNA reported, as millions of people observed the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha on Wednesday.
Israel says it has killed Mohammed Odeh, the leader of Hamas's military wing in Gaza, in an airstrike in the northern part of the Strip. As a fragile ceasefire comes under growing strain, Israeli authorities said on Wednesday that Odeh was killed in an attack the previous day in Gaza City.
Muslim faithful took part in the climactic ritual of the annual Hajj pilgrimage on Wednesday, symbolically stoning the devil near Makkah. From dawn, crowds of pilgrims gathered in the valley of Mina, southeast of the holy city of Makkah, to throw pebbles at concrete pillars symbolizing the devil.
Britain and its allies risk losing a conflict in cyberspace against adversaries such as Russia unless citizens, corporations and governments treat cybersecurity with much greater urgency, a UK spy chief is warning. Anna Keast-Butler, director of the Communications Intelligence Agency GCHQ, will warn Wednesday that Moscow is relentlessly targeting critical infrastructure, democratic processes, supply chains and public trust in Britain and Europe. In a speech at a World War II code-breaking centre near London, she will accuse Russia of stealing technology and plotting sabotage and assassination attempts.
Taipei, Taiwan. For Li, an engineer at Taiwanese computer giant ASUS, the AI boom sweeping Taiwan has made it an exciting time to work in tech. Taiwan is a semiconductor powerhouse, producing about 90% of the most advanced chips used to power leading AI models such as ChatGPT and Claude. Goma, Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Congolese authorities have suspended all flights to and from Bunia in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo in an attempt to contain an Ebola outbreak. The decision was taken by the Ministry of Transport and Communications, which has banned all air traffic in and out of Bunia, the capital of Ituri province, where the virus continues to spread.
WeRoad, the Milan-based group travel startup, has raised a $58 million Series C round led by Airbnb as it prepares for its first major expansion outside Europe. The funding brings the company's total capital raised to roughly $100 million and will finance WeRoad's push into the US, beginning with Austin. The new investment reflects a bet that the next generation of travel companies may look less like booking platforms and more like social platforms designed to facilitate real-world connections.
A brief exchange on X between an Emirati academic and an Israeli businessman has gone viral after a sharply worded response that the United Arab Emirates had surrendered to Iran. Emirati academic Abdul Khalek Abdullah posted that the UAE was taking cautious and calculated steps to reduce tensions with Iran.
Muslims across the world celebrated Eid al-Adha, also known as the Feast of the Sacrifice. On Wednesday, celebrated on the 10th of Zilhaj, Eid al-Adha marks the culmination of Hajj, one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It marks the end of the Hajj and commemorates Prophet Ibrahim's readiness to sacrifice his son to show obedience to Allah.
The UK is at a moment of consequence as Russia is relentlessly targeting critical infrastructure. The UK's largest spy agency will warn. GCHQ director Anne Keast-Butler will set out threats facing the UK and the measures she believes need to be taken to confront them when she makes her inaugural public speech on Wednesday.
Gaza City. In her tent, where she has spent much of Israel's genocidal war on Gaza, 68-year-old Itaidel Hamdan prepares for her 3rd consecutive Eid al-Adha away different. She had hoped to fulfill a lifelong dream of performing Hajj, one of the 5 obligatory pillars of Islam, with her husband. But she has no chance of leaving Gaza, and Hazvad 67 was killed in an Israeli strike last year. Tehran, Iran. The fundamental principle is distrust towards America. This is how senior lawmaker Abbas Moqtadi described the situation to state television on Tuesday afternoon. It came after an Iranian delegation, led by Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, returned to Tehran from Qatar amid efforts to reach an understanding with the United States on ending the nearly 3-month-long war on the country.
Israeli attacks across southern Lebanon killed at least 31 people and wounded 40 others on Tuesday, as Israeli forces intensified strikes and issued dozens of displacement orders for towns and villages in the country's south and east. Panic spread across southern Lebanon as residents fled the escalating assault, with Israeli ground pushing deeper into Lebanese territory amid fears of a wider offensive.
European Union agriculture ministers are meeting in Brussels to discuss the availability of fertiliser as the war on Iran disrupts global supply chains. The talks come as the European Commission pushes a new fertiliser action plan aimed at supporting farmers who face a significant rise in costs for fertilisers. It is hoped the measures could boost agricultural food imports and reduce Europe's dependence on food imports.
Pro-Israel US Senator Lindsey Graham on Wednesday demanded that Pakistan stop mediating US-Iran talks to end the war and wants Islamabad to respond to Donald Trump's stance on the Abraham Accords. In his post, Graham described Pakistan's role as a mediator as problematic and pointed to the country's long-standing hostility toward Israel. Deputy Prime Ministers and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, who is on a 2-day visit to New York, met United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, with both sides discussing the situation in the Middle East. The Foreign Office, FO, said on Wednesday DPM Dar arrived in New York a day earlier. Immensely popular in Nepal and neighbouring India, momos are steamed dumplings, traditionally made with minced chicken or lamb, and are as versatile as they are delicious. Served along with achars, pickles and chutneys, samos make for great street food, but can also be added to a spicy soup jahol momos for a nourishing meal, while one can find all kinds of momos on the trendy food streets of Nazimabad, Karachi. It's absent from the rest of the country's foodscape, which is particularly surprising given the craze for Korean steamed buns a couple of years ago. Momos, with their spicy fillings and chat patta sauces, seem like Bao's natural heir, the next food obsession waiting in the wings. Israel said on Wednesday it had killed the new head of Hamas's armed wing in Gaza, Mohammed Odeh, in a strike the day before, after killing his predecessor in a similar attack this month. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz claimed the commander of the armed wing of the Hamas terrorist organization in Gaza was eliminated yesterday.
A Chinese dissident has made a daring 30-hour escape from China by sea to South Korea. His 4th attempt to try and flee authorities in his homeland and reunite with his family who have been granted asylum in Canada. Dong Guangping, a former police officer who has faced years of imprisonment and detention for his activism, fled using an inflatable boat and was picked up by South Korean Coast Guard on Monday, his lawyer and a fellow activist told CNN.